What disgusting secrets does your employer keep from its customers? The fajitas sizzle because we pour oil and water on a hot plate, not because we grilled anything. I once temped a customer survey marketing firm and they tested a variety of coffee and lattes from a popular Canadian chain. The studies showed that the customers rated the beverage higher if they heard the milk being steamed. No milk was ever being steamed. The machine just made that noise. Former employer was charging clients for a one backup solution that was not even running. I was still actively developing it when I quit. Client called up and asked to see the records of the backup. I said it was not running and that we did not have any to my knowledge. Client flips out. Calls boss. Boss flips out at me for not lying. Duck like poop. And this is why restore tests are so vitally important. Still, selling something that does not exist. Wow. I used to work in a major movie theater and we would recycle hot dogs. Basically, if the links were on the spinning rack all day and did not get purchased, they would be thrown in a bucket and refrozen. We poked a fork hole in one to see how long it would stay in rotation. 7 ducking days. I remember I saw an orange Julius open once. The guy opened up the storefront and walked over to the hot dog roller and switched it on. There were already 3 dogs in there. Worked for a self-storage place in Rockland, CA. They made every customer sign a lease agreement that said that you would not hold them responsible if your unit was broken into and things were stolen. I found out that we had 7-8 burglaries a year. The owners would get sued but they would always get off because they did produce the lease agreement in court and the judge would dismiss the case. One day I came in from vacation to pick up my paycheck, and I found the owner and the manager loading up a truck with the contents from a unit that was not theirs. I went around the corner to an area where the fence allowed me to look in, and saw that they went to another storage space, cut off the lock, and proceeded to load up the truck with a telescope, big screen TV and some power tools. I came back the next day and asked one of my co-workers. He told me that the owners of the storage space would sell the stuff they stole from renters, and that the manager and owner did the same thing with another property that they owned in Granite Bay. I quit to go back to Sac State. I called the Rockland cops to tell them what the owners were doing, and they said that there was nothing they could do unless they were caught in the act. Tim Hortons Smile Cookies. Pay an extra $1 for a chocolate chunk cookie with a smile drawn on it. All proceeds go to local charity. Unfortunately, store owner would just go into the system, void all cookie sales and replaced with regular chocolate chunk cookie sales. I want to know where this is. No one ducks with my smile cookies. A small business owner for whom I worked several years ago kept deducting the employees' health insurance premiums but never sent the payments into the carrier. After 2-3 months of this, our insurance was cancelled. Right before one lady's teenage son was in a fairly serious car accident. She finds out at the emergency room, during what is of course an extremely stressful time, that she has no insurance whatsoever when she and her dependents had been fully covered. The next day she went into his office, very upset, to find out what happened. He gave his usual song and dance and made excuses for not having been able to send it in. And this normally mild-mannered lady picked up a stapler and threw it at him. He was not even injured. While doing that was of course unacceptable. I totally understood her frustration with this weasel. He spent thousands of dollars a month of company money coding it to company expenses at Sam's Club on groceries and big-ticket items for his house, on top of his already generous salary. Then to top it all off, he actually took her to court for the stapler throwing incident. After hearing the story, the judge dismissed the weasel's case and made a comment to the effect that if he were in the same position as her, he probably would have done the same thing. I have seen things in a very similar vein. I am in pensions, so I see a lot of 401k plans. We have heard that it was either pay my employees or pay their contributions to the plan excuse a ridiculous amount of times. It is all fun and games until the door comes a-knocking. We did have a client go to jail for it. Apparently, the employer showed up in a new caddy which the employees named our 401k deductions. Used to sell cars at a major dealership. The unofficial sales contest was to see how much over MSRP they could sell the car for by confusing the customer on the price with payments financing. manipulation of trade value, and sometimes outright fraud, like promising manufacturer rebates then not applying them. The winner for the 2 months I was there was over by 10k, selling a car that should have been 20k for over 30k. The sad part is the customer might never even know because they still got the payment they wanted. Please do yourselves a favor and do not shop solely based on payments, and if you are financing then make sure you are aware what the final selling price of the car is. There is a major difference between 400 MTH at 60 months at 0% interest and 400 per month at 84 months at 0.9%. It that ain't the truth. When I was out vehicle shopping, the one dealer that I went to would not give me a price of any of the vehicles. He simply kept saying, "How much do you want your monthly payment to be?" I left and will never go back there. I used to work at Fresh as a hostess busser drive-through attendant. That place was filthy and corrupt as duck. No one in the kitchen wore gloves and the cooks loved making people eat old food that had been dropped on the disgusting floors. The manager loved to steal the waitress's tips and blame the customers or the sketchy-looking bussers. The most corrupt thing the awful manager did while I was there was around Christmas time. He would take 100 out of each of the new younger employees' cash drawer. Call your parents saying that their kids stole the money and they needed to be brought in to be questioned. When I went to work the next day, I found out the same poop happened to a few of the others. We all got pissed and snagged the key that locked the box to the camera controls. Rewinded to the following day and watched until we saw the ducker start doing his thing. Every single one of us reported his ass. He got insta-fired. It was glorious. Too long didn't he read Fresh is gross, and my old manager was a corrupt duck. I do music for various media around Tokyo. From big corporations to sketchy dirty production basement deals. Sometimes I walk by a shooting or get a glimpse of an active set. I have seen some porno work as well, not as exciting to experience as some may imagine. Once I witnessed a director, who is notorious for being a shitty asshole, threaten an actress that if she continued with her gloomy face during the shootings he would take her child away as he slapped her on her head. It was all very serious and cold. The look on her face as she quietly agreed with him ate into my very being. Then I thought how in a few weeks hundreds of people will sexually get off to her in that state without actually being aware of the reality of the situation. Seeing porno again after that, I cannot help but look into the eyes of the girls and wonder what's really going on. I sure felt disgusted getting paid by the same company. Not all porn is like this, but it is far more common than it should be. We charge 150 labor to replace a battery on a laptop. We charge 200 for a service call to determine that the battery is ducked. Then another 200 to come back with the proper battery. Eddie, I do not work for Geek Squad. I worked for a vet in Vancouver and I ran a whole month of raffles. Nail cuttings for donations and pet pics with Santa for the SPCA. When we added up the last of the money from the month, I put it in the safe. The practice owner's wife deposited the money and bought herself some new Chanel makeup. Capital W. Capital T. Capital F. I quit in disgust. But did you report it or did you let them get away with the scam? I worked at Bet.com, a British gambling company that received 2 Queen's Award for Enterprise. It operates the world's only decent sports betting exchange. We lost all of our customers' credit card details and did not tell them. Our exchange was broken by a rogue programmer who managed to bypass all the account balance checks and bet millions on a horse race a while ago. Oh sweet Jesus. I think I can hear the Daily Mail's comments section already. I work at a frozen yogurt shop where the raspberries are always moldy and when bugs get caught in the toppings, I have to fish them out and leave the topping there. We have a roach problem, and gnats are everywhere. Customers can see the gnats flying around the salads, fruits, and pies we have out, but I guess it does not disgust them enough to not come back. More than a few times customers have complained about bugs in their drinks that ended up there after they died in our ice machine. The worst was a live cockroach in someone's salad that was on the fork as they went to take a bite. Whole cooked turkey breasts and roast beefs have been dropped on the floor and served without any of the managers and employees giving 2 ducks. I have realized most restaurants are so much more dirty than shown. But I have eaten out my whole life. I guess my consolation is that I'm probably building up some immunities to all the Ikeys out there. I used to work for a local children's charity where a good majority of the money was skimmed to pay for the owner's for-profit business. I worked for a popular national pet store chain. We told our customers that we got our puppies from reputable breeders and not puppy mills. We got them from puppy mills. And I cannot express how many came in on the back of large, pitch-dark freight truck, malnourished, scared and sick. We also adopted the cute kittens from the local shelter and charged customers outrageous amounts of money, most of whom just felt bad for the kittens. Do not support national chain pet stores that sell puppies that do not come from local shelters, folks. Sears, pushed and encouraged to sign you up for things without the customer's consent. Phone number and email is all we need to sign you up for Shop Your Way rewards. I thought without your consent we will do it. DM tells managers to tell us to do it because it has worked so well in other stores to keep numbers up. Wells Fargo. All around shady. Straight up lie to people to get them over to a banker to open up checking accounts by telling them our policies are changing and they have to do this. Making sure they have every single product whether it will actually benefit you or not. We will not give up until you have them all. One time a blind lady came up to my window with 3 separate checking accounts under her name and she did not even know why she had them. Turns out a banker had opened them all up for her to meet quota. So once I quit WF, I moved all of my accounts elsewhere. Edit more words. I have hated Sears for 30 years. I just want to say that if you have ever worked at a water park, it will turn you off the visiting any kind of public pool or park for the rest of your life. The poop we pulled out of those filters. Man. Number just pour so many chemicals into the water that literally nothing can live in it and call it a day. Anything unique you pulled out that really stands out in your mind? Or was it basically a messy concoction of slop? We have pulled out innumerable weaves and fake nails. Lots of little dead animals, voles, mice, birds, the like. Band-aids, condoms, dirty swim diapers, tampons, glass, trash of all sorts, including food trash, wallets, phones, empty sunscreen tubes, just everything. People are disgusting. Macy's does not donate poop to charities. They practically force their employees to claim it as company donation. I worked at Dairy Queen. The collection box supporting children with cancer hanging out the drive-through window was a discontinued charity. My manager pocketed all the donations. Disgusting in a different sense. A nice story to balance it, the McDonald's I worked at did not even have the key to open the charity boxes. The only person who did is a man from the charity, who takes every last penny for its intended cause once a month or so. Good until a customer drops their debit card into the donation slot by the drive-thru and we cannot get it out. Laughing that this happened before, we suggested they cancel it just in case, took down their phone number, and when the charity man came by we let him know what was up. We ended up keeping the card in the upstairs safe, calling the customer up, and all was well. My last job we held events and refilled premium liquor with house crap. And during events charged consumption tabs with 100+ people. Extra shots and bottles that were never ordered so the event holder can pay for something never even used at the end of the night. And that is just scratching the surface. My boss refuses to hire anybody but white women. And he uses rubbing alcohol to wipe the expiration date off of product if it expires. He just puts it back on the shelf. Including dairy product. I hate him. I would not purchase anything that does not have an expiration date, especially things that normally have them. I check the expiration date of anything I buy. I hate it when I buy expired staplers. This happened years ago, but I was a receptionist for a chiropractor for about 6 months. One day our first appointment came in. I went in the back to look for him. I walked in on him having sex with a co-worker on the table. The same table the patients sometimes would lay face down on. I went back to the front and said he will be with you in a couple minutes. God, I was disgusted. He was married with 2 young kids. I did not work there long after that. Is this why the doctors are always late to appointments?